Hello everyone. Today, this is my first video covering Visual Basic topics. What we will be going over today will pertain to buttons, picture boxes, and labels. So very basic, but a good start to Visual Basic. So, the first thing you want to do is open up your toolbox. If it's not open, you can normally go to there's like a little type in button on the top right. You can't see it in this screen view, but you just type in toolbox and then this will pop up as soon as you hit enter. So you want to search up button and this will appear. You're going to drag 3 buttons and it's going to initially just say button 1, button 2, button 3. But what I did was I clicked on the button like that. Oops. See, it just dragged one like that, button 1. So as soon as I dragged all my buttons in, I clicked the first one and I went down to text and I typed in what I wanted the button to say. So text is what will appear on the button. The name, however, is what you're going to reference when you're writing your code. So you can go up to name and I use the prefix BTN for button. And then I say fav food because this is about the favorite food. And I do the same for the other two. So this one, the name is BTN for button, the abbreviation, fav celebrity because it's about my favorite celebrity. And then I type in the text, my favorite celebrity is ... Again, the text is what will appear on the button. And you can adjust the size of the font by going to font and clicking these little dots, and right here will appear. It's loading, but it will appear with different font styles and the font size and the boldness, as you can see right here. And you can click cancel since I'm not going to change it. If you want to change the back color, which is how this turned red, you go to back color. And I put Indian red. So you're just going to click the drop down. I go to web because those colors are nicer than the system colors. And I changed it to Indian red. It can be any color you want. And so the last thing, it's the same for the last button. You go to name, and you guessed it. You put BTN fav pet, or you can type whatever you want after that. You don't have to go by these naming conventions, but it is very easy and convenient to reference later on when you're writing your code. And then in the text, I wrote my favorite pet is ... Okay, and yes, again, I adjusted the font because it originally did not come with this font, and I adjusted the back color to make it red. Okay, and as for the form itself, the form is basically this pink box you see here. It comes as a clean slate, nothing is on it. So when I click the form, I also can adjust the name on the form. I changed it to its naming convention, which is FRM for form, favorite things, because this whole form is about my favorite things. And then if I want to change the text, which is what appears right here, I go to text, my favorite things. Or I could change it to anything. I could put my favorite things. Let's just for the sake of showing you how to change it, I'll put MMM. And click enter, and as you can see, it changes. But I'm going to change it back because I liked it as my favorite things without the M's. And click enter. Okay, so now you want to know how to add these 2 things. My favorite things, the label and the directions. So what you're going to want to do is go back to your toolbox because you're going to need a different tool for that. And you're going to click label. Okay, drag 2 labels onto the form. So like that's one of them. And then you're going to want to drag a second one. But I don't need these because I already made this. So that was just to show you how to do it. And you can always delete by right-clicking and then going down to delete. Okay, so for the first label, I changed the name, as always. I don't want it to say label 1. I want it to say LBL, and that's the naming convention for label. You can always look up the naming conventions online. I'm sure they're there. LBL, favorite things. Because, again, this label is about showing that this whole thing is about my favorite things. And then to change the text, you go to text, and the text again is what will appear on the actual label. The name is only for referencing in the code. You go to text and change the text to my favorite things. Second label, you go to the name, change it to LBL directions because I want it to have I wanted to know when I'm well, you're not going to reference the labels in the code, but it's just good. Um, it's good programming to always make sure that you label everything according to what it is, therefore it's very organized. Okay, and then you're going to want to go to the text and just write the direction that you want. And again, the tools that I'm providing you in this video do not have to be applied only to this assignment. You can apply this to basically anything you do. Almost everything that you do in Visual Basic Form application will require some type of button or label, because that's just what's very common. You're going to need to execute something, so you're going to need a button. So then I want to add these picture boxes. So how do I get these pictures to appear, you're probably wondering. Well, I'm going to go into my toolbox and I'm going to click picture box. So as you can see, it's right there. And then I'm going to put one down, and I'm going to put 3 of those. So I don't need this because, again, I already have it, but I'll just delete it. So the first one, I put pic, and that is the abbreviation for picture box, hamburgers, because it's a picture of a hamburger. How did I get the picture in there, you're wondering? Well, I went to image, and I clicked these 3 little dots, and I went to local resource, and I clicked import. You have to download the file beforehand, and then have it on your computer, and then you import it, and you click OK. And if you're wondering how to get the image to fit perfectly, you click stretch image under the size mode. It'll do it just fine. Okay, next is a picture of Selena Gomez. I said pick Selena Gomez. I selected the image from the local resource, and I changed the size mode. And there's no text for this because there's nothing that's appearing in the picture box. It's just a picture. So you don't have to worry about changing the text because there is no text thing to change in the properties for picture boxes. So next, I go to the last picture. It's pick dog, that's the name, and change the image to the dog, and again, change it to stretch image. So now, one thing that's involved specifically in this form is because when the person initially opens it, these pictures are not going to be here. They're going to be here as soon as someone clicks on the button. So it's important to change all of them to false. Therefore, the visibility is false. It does not initially show. And then in your code, you're going to change it to true when someone clicks the button. Okay, so now for the labels, that's the last thing. I already told you how to import labels from the toolbox. You're just going to look up label and import it. And of course, change the label to label hamburgers and the name to just hamburgers or whatever you want to put in there. Okay, and the same thing for the font. You just go to the font aspect of properties, and you change it to your desired style and desired size. So if you're wondering how to get these all 3 the same exact size without a bunch of trial and error, you go to format and you say make same size width and height. So you click on one, and then you click on the other 3 like this, and you click control and click on the other one and the other one. So hold control on your keyboard and click the other 2 while you're holding control. The first one, you just click it. You do not hold control. And then the second 2, you hold control. Okay. And so for these, you're also going to turn the visibility off on these because, again, for this form, it's where once you click the button, then these 2 things appear, the picture box and the label. So make sure you turn the visibility off on all 6 of these items. And now you are ready to write some code. So the first thing you're going to want to do is click on button favorite food. So that means that you got to double click on this. I'm not going to double click on it because I already have the event handler for this, but you double click on the my favorite food button and it will give you this event handler. Okay, so once you have your event handler, that's where you're going to write your code underneath it. The first thing I did was I wrote a comment. The way you write a comment is you click that little tick mark on your keyboard, and you write the comment after that. Basically, whenever it's green, a whole line is green, it's a comment, and that is not code. Just like if I put a tick mark right here, this becomes a comment, and once I delete it, it's back to code. So the first thing you want to do is, what the event handler means is when this is clicked, these things will happen. Just like the comment says, this code is executed when a user clicks on the favorite food button which is this button. It makes the hamburger label. Hold on, let's delete this. Close this properties tab. It makes the hamburger's label and picture visible, and it hides the other Selena Gomez and dog pictures and the labels. So we only want one label and one picture box to be shown at a time. So what you're going to want to do is change the visibility to true on those two things that you want visible, and set all the other things false. And you're going to enable the button exit. So the button exit is down here. I forgot to tell you guys about that one. This one is just basically where it's going to close the program if you click that instead of clicking the X. And you're going to have to write code down for that one. It's pretty simple. I'll get into that later. So you're going to set the button enable to true. So we're going to make it where they cannot exit until they have clicked a button. So they have to click something, then they can exit. So you have to, again, in the form, when you click on this button, and I close the properties tab, but you have to make sure that the visibility is, not the visibility, the enabled is set to false, because you're going to set it to true later on. Okay, so the next one is for the event handler of favorite celebrity. Double click on this, and you will get this event handler. That's what makes that. Okay, so then you're gonna write a comment. It's always good to write comments, so like just like how I'm referencing my code later on, I don't have to think about it. I already know what it does. So this code is executed when a user clicks on the favorite celebrity button. It makes the Selena Gomez picture and label visible, hides the other labels and pictures. So it makes these two visible, but not these two, not the bottom and the top and the top. So again, when you want something visible, you set that visibility to true. And the syntax for that is pick Selena Gomez.visible, because that's what we named it, equals true. And the other ones, just like label.visible equals false for hamburgers and dog and the dog picture and the dog label. And then you're going to want to set the button to enable to true, because you don't know which button they're going to click initially. So you have to make sure they're true for all of them, because as soon as they click that button, then the button exit is enabled and they can exit the program if they so wish. So the last one, because this is not a complicated program by all means, is the favorite pet button. Again, you're going to want to set the pick and the label for the dog visible, so equal to true, dot visible equal to true, and then the other ones set it to false. And of course, you're going to want to enable the exit button, so if the user wishes, they can exit the form. So lastly, you have to write code for the exit button. So this is something you're going to be needing to do in almost all of your form applications in Visual Basic. Something your teacher will tell you to do is very simple. It's just close with parentheses. I can even write it for you right here. Close with the parentheses. This code is executed when a user clicks on the exit button. It'll make the program end. In other words, it'll make the program close. So I'm going to start this. Okay, and it's loading. Takes a little bit of time, but it should be running right now. Okay, so I just paused the video because it was taking a little bit of time, but it appears that the form is loading. So let's see. You see, initially I clicked on the exit button. It did not let me exit because its enableability is set to false until I click on a button, then I can exit the program. But as you can see, every time I click on, let's say my favorite food is, these two appear. But when I click on my favorite celebrity, those disappear and disappears, because again, we set the visibility to only these two when this button is clicked, and we turn the visibility to false as far as the top and the bottom labels and pictures. So you can just play around with that, and you have created your first Forms application. And then you click exit when you're done, and you're all done. So this has been my first video covering Visual Basic, Microsoft Visual Studio. I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below. And if you want to support this video, just leave a thumbs up. I'll be making more videos in the future about Visual Basic and hopefully getting into other languages as well. Thank you for watching, and as always, please subscribe and like this video for more content. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great day.